The Tao of Self-Confidence, Episode 731. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. Visit our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits. Well, hello, friend. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a phenomenal lady on the show today. She is a Kung Fu teacher, and I'm really excited to have her on and share her story with us today on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Mimi Chan. Mimi, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Yes, thank you so much, Sheena. First of all, thank you so much for including me amongst your guests for this incredible podcast. I'm really honored to be here. So I teach Kung Fu at the Wah Lum Temple in Orlando, Florida, where I began my martial arts journey at 3 years old. And amongst other things, I'm also an indie filmmaker. I also host a podcast called Culture Chat, and I've dabbled in the world of acting and stunts.
Thanks for sharing that. And Mimi, what's your cultural background?
I am actually Chinese Jamaican. So my dad is from southern China and my mom she has a Chinese background, but she was born and raised in Jamaica. And so most of the family that I have gotten to know are actually from the Jamaican side. So, an interesting blend.
Thanks for sharing that. And what'd be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Well, I loved this question because it actually made me have to think. And I went back and looked through some notes of quotes that I also like to keep on hand. And the one I decided on was by Oscar Wilde, which is, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken."
Thanks for sharing that great quote. And Mimi, in your own words, how do you define self-confidence?
To me, self-confidence is knowing and loving who you are.
Thanks for sharing that great definition. And what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
I feel very fortunate to always have had Kung Fu training in my life, starting at 3. So on some level, because of that training, I was taught self-confidence at a very young age, but loving myself definitely took a lot more time. And I really believe those two things go hand in hand. And growing up in Orlando, I definitely was a minority. And at times, my Kung Fu and Chinese Jamaican background was not always something I was really proud of. I wouldn't say I was ashamed, but I remember being embarrassed about being different and wanting to fit in and be what I thought was quote unquote normal. So now I'm really grateful for my culture and tradition and actually, the things that do make me different. I'm much more grateful for, and I've embraced that. But I feel like that's probably just part of everybody's, child life lessons.
Thanks for sharing that. I think, it's especially when we are like the only token Asian person in like the States or somewhere in North America, it's always challenging. We all like to look the same, or we want to, look like everybody else around us, blonde hair, blue eyes. I wanted to change my name to like Heather because it just sounded more Western. But, what was that point in your life when you realized you were more than enough that you can go out there and be who you are today, have that confidence? What was that aha moment?
Yeah, well, most of my aha moments in life, I have to accredit to my Kung Fu training because it's really defined who I am. And so it also, continues to define who I strive to be. And when I was about 16, I would say, I began to really realize how important Kung Fu was to me and how grateful I was to have just kind of the unique opportunity to learn this art form from someone like my father, because he's actually very world renowned and people from all over the world would come to learn from him. And I really took that for granted, because he's just my father to me. And so, but when I started to really look at that fact that everybody would be coming to him from all these different places, it really kind of struck me as how unique and special the opportunity was. And I really learned to be grateful. And I think learning to really have gratitude in your life is something that is very eye-opening. And so that discipline of Kung Fu, continues to give me a code to live by and inspires me to constantly strive to be a better person.
Thanks for sharing that. And, that's great that Kung Fu has taught you more than just like technical, right? It's a bigger purpose for you. Like you mentioned, there's a code that you guys live by because, it's not just like trying to fight everybody. It's, using it when it's necessary. And, because of all your realizations, what's your life been like now?
Yeah, that's such a great way of putting it, Gina. Life is still a journey filled with challenges, of course. I'm over 40 now, and so I'm still working on improving my self-confidence and learning to completely embrace who I am as a person and love myself unconditionally. But like a lot of people, no one is harder on me than myself. And so I'm just grateful to have the support and love of those around me that are with me on the journey. And I've been fortunate to be able to do and see things I never thought I would have imagined, and just really focusing on that gratitude for all the opportunities in my life. So as a teacher, it's very special that I'm able to empower others to find their self-confidence as well. So it's, as a teacher, you just want to try to pay it forward all the time. And, I work with so many students of different ages. And so for me, it's been very gratifying to just be able to try to help others also find their self-confidence.
Thanks for sharing that. And, to the woman who's listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence. What would be that one tip you would give to her?
Well, my advice to other women is to start with celebrating even the smallest wins. So it could be anything from, I got up today, had a really good breakfast. I, spoke with a friend I haven't talked to in a long time, whatever, actions one takes. I think we don't give ourselves enough credit and we don't love ourselves enough. And so, like we spoke about earlier, my life after, kind of gaining that self-confidence and embracing who I was as a person, loving myself, all of those things have led to so many amazing things in my life. I've had a lot of incredible opportunities that I wouldn't have had if I didn't do that. And so I think that journey for everybody has to start with kind of taking that time to reflect and kind of learning who you are. And for me, my daily focus is on gratitude, empathy, and kindness. And so my advice to others is maybe to focus on those things, and hopefully it'll lead to knowing yourself and then loving yourself.
Thanks for sharing those great tips. And I totally agree. We don't celebrate our wins enough, no matter how big or small they are. And people don't realize it's those small wins that really yield the big results and help us build confidence step by step. So thanks for sharing that. And if our listeners wanted to get to know a little bit more about you and what you do, or check out some of your work, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Absolutely. Everything is Sifu Mimi Chan, and that's SIFUMIMICHAN. So all of my social media handles are the same, and it's sifumimichan.com. You can find my podcast, a little more about my directorial projects, and, even my Kung Fu, which is Wah Lum, WAHLUM, Wah-Lum.com. So, but everything can be done through Sifu Mimi Chan. So again, thank you so much, Gina, for having me on the show.
Thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Mimi, you can also head on over to thetaoofselfconfidence.com and search for Mimi's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else that we talked about. And I really just want to thank Mimi today for taking the time to share her story and tips with us on self-confidence. So thank you so much, Mimi.
Thank you.
Not a problem. It was really great having you on the show. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for tuning in to another amazing episode of The Tao of Self-Confidence. Get your free self-talk tape for building self-confidence by visiting our website at thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Your inner journey to self-confidence awaits.